Cameroon has talent, no doubt. From legends to new stars, the sound is there. But here's the real question. Why is Cameroon still not global in 2026 when it comes to music making or entertainment in the continent? Is it bad luck? Who knows? Or is it something or someone blocking it, or a group of gatekeepers? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear. Cameroon is not a small country when it comes to entertainment. Heck, this is the country that gave us giants like Manu Dibango and Richard Bona. But for some reason, Nigeria and Ghana today, they dominate that global Afro product coming out of Motherland. Is there something really wrong with Cameroon? Or are the Cameroonian artists not really getting it, or they do not fully understand their roles? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know who this is, man. If this is your first time coming, they call me Mr. J. And it's always an honor and pleasure to have you stop by, man. Today, I want us to talk about something which is really pertinent. The title of this one is The Truth About the Cameroonian Music Industry. Who is actually blocking that global success? Because if you are like Mr. J, you always want to understand exactly what the heck is happening in a given country that has so much talent, but still, the artists are failing. If you've been watching music coming out of the continent of Africa for the past couple of years, you will understand that Afrobeat is actually has been largely driving that traction when it comes to entertainment and music coming out from the continent. And I will say this, Afrobeat itself is largely driven by countries like Ghana and Nigeria, with that global expansion fueled by streaming and the diaspora market. And while countries like Nigeria's, they build global systems, we have countries like Cameroon that is still struggling to structure its industry. Yes, don't ask me for how long. First of all, this is the first truth I wanted to talk about it, and this one hurts. Cameroon does not have a strong music industry structure. Forget about what you keep hearing online and back and forth, and people saying this guy is this guy is that. No, none of that. I'm talking because I come from that land. Cameroon does not actually have a strong music industry structure. No solid distribution markets or networks. Very few professional management systems. Yes, Cameroon doesn't have that. They are very limited when it comes to organized platforms for artists. And the artists themselves, they cannot seem to unite and organize shit to get that industry booming. And this is what I'm going to say. Artists are basically doing everything by themselves when you look at the Cameroonian music industry. And which is why many Cameroonian artists, they operate without professional organization, with limited gigs and airplay. This is just what it is, bro. And this is not something that is good for a country that actually is aiming and looking at. But the question is, are the Cameroonian artists actually looking at global domination, or they are just comfortable being in that local, that local scene and ecosystem, that local level of trying to always put their head up and talk about they this or they that? But I would say this though. This is not how global industries work. You understand me? In Nigeria, labels, PR, and so many other investors, they push artists worldwide. Yes, they do that. Unfortunately, Cameroon lacks that. And in Cameroon, the artist is the label, the artist is the manager, the artist is his marketer, the artist is pretty much everything. If you know any artist that works differently and is from Cameroon, please, I want you to leave a comment down in the comment section. Now, I want us to look at the second issue about why this is so. Now, this is the problem: lack of investment and label power. Now, this is the second truth of why Cameroon is not actually global like that. See, money is missing when it comes to that push to get Cameroonian artists globally. But this is the question though. Do those people who have money from Cameroon, are they willing to work with artists? Are artists actually willing to say, yes, I'm going to take what you want me to do in terms of as an investor coming in, and then I will work with that so that at least I can go global? So those are two things that we need to talk about, because in music, money is oxygen. Money is air. There's no artist that's going to tell you that, they don't need money to do one or two things, especially those artists that are coming from the underground, because global success today is driven by the few points. And let me tell you, streaming campaigns, number one, international PR, number two, high budget visuals. Some of these things Cameroonian artists of today, they lack. Because when you look at Cameroon today, the backing of all of these things I just talked about is basically non-existent. Yes, many artists lack teams and resources to actually compete globally, especially in the digital space where we have countries and artists from countries like Nigeria and Ghana are actually competing. So compare that with comparing the Cameroonian artists or the Cameroon music industry with that of Nigeria and Ghana, where labels like you have Sony, you have like the Universal, they have invested heavily and they have transformed the industry into a global powerhouse. One thing most people might not yet know is that there are some big international music management teams. I'm talking about from Europe, from North America, from Asia, that are already present in Nigeria and looking for the next big thing, because that streaming power, that international global movement that Afrobeats has generated in the past couple of years from artists like Wizkid, Davido, Burna Boy is crazy. Everybody wants to taste that motherland money. Now, the third problem I'm going to talk about, the reason why Cameroon is not actually where it is, and unfortunately it's going to be like that for the next couple of decades until the up-and-coming artists actually change shit, is because the gatekeeping and industry politics. Yes, every industry has gatekeepers. Even if it's a shitty-ass industry, Cameroon has its own gatekeepers. Now, here's where it gets very, very controversial, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about this. Is the Cameroonian industry actually blocking itself from blossoming? Or do we have some of these gatekeepers playing politics and not trying to uplift the other one? I'm going to leave that for you guys. What you mean from 237? But there are some growing claims coming out of Cameroon that established artists, they dominate for attention and they don't want to dominate for expansion. Let me repeat that. Most Cameroonian artists, which I've been talking about, they try to dominate for attention, or in Cameroon we say show, or egoistic things. They do not try to dominate to expand, like to bring up the next person, like, hey, let's blossom together. They do not do that, which is why new artists today from Cameroon, they struggle to even break through. Yes, they do struggle to break through. And some reports suggest that local audiences and systems actually favor already established artists over emerging artists. Now, this creates a closed system, which is like, we say, there's a saying that people say, if you find yourself in the hole, stop digging, or you shoot yourself in the foot before going out. Of course, you're going to go with a limb. So there's no fresh global breakout that has come out of Cameroon for the past couple of months. Now, this is the fourth problem that I see for the reason why Cameroonian artists will never ever grow until they master all of these things: the digital gap and the global strategy. Most of the Cameroonian artists, unfortunately, they do not have that. Now, you see this fourth truth? This is the most critical, if you ask me. You know, I've been talking of these things for a long time. See, Cameroon was late to the digital game, and they are still late, because if you look at what some of the artists do today, some of those up-and-coming artists from Cameroon today, you see that they have no plan for that digital understanding and that global digitalized strategy to move. No, Afrobeat just blew up globally because, one, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, diaspora engagement. Nigeria and Ghana, they leverage these things. See, artists from these two countries, they leverage these things earlier. When that move was coming, see, Cameroon is just trying to catch up, because Cameroonian artists that had that opportunity to come in and bring everybody in, they were playing gatekeeping in politics. Yes, digital platforms and streamers have been key drivers of global Afrobeat expansion. We had artists from Cameroon had that opportunity to actually position themselves well, but they were there for attention. They were not there for expansion. And in today's music industry, I would say this: if you are not digital first, let me repeat that. If you are not digital first, you do not exist.